4,000 subscribers, workshop finally finished, S50, bit of a damp squid, and a flight case. Welcome to this week's Sunday morning rant. It is actually Sunday evening, I have to be honest, and it is the 5th of November, which in the UK is traditionally Guy Fawkes night, when people go and set fireworks off to celebrate the fact that Guy Fawkes was trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. If you didn't know that, you can go and look it up on the internet. And it wasn't the 5th of November either, but we kind of celebrate it on the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot is the whole subterfuge for it. But I digress. The first part of this SMR is kind of split into 4 pieces this week. And the first part of this SMR is, first of all, a thank you to you guys who watch the channel. Because although it doesn't sound a lot, actually having 4,000 subscribers subscribe to the channel is actually quite a feat. Not a lot of channels get up to 4,000 subscribers. And I know it's not massive in the grand scheme of things. There are people out there with 1 million subscribers. But you know what? I'll go with 4,000 subscribers, because that means 4,000 of you are listening to me ramble on and do things with synthesizers and other electronica. So, big thank you to everybody who watches the channel and who subscribes to the channel. Thank you very much. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. So if you've been watching the channel recently, what you will have seen is various bits of things changing around me. Subtly, I suppose you probably would say. But the thing that's most noticeable, which is kind of off camera, is the fact that the workshop roof has been completely stripped off and a new roof put in. And the reason for that was last year, during the rains that we had last year, we noticed that a load of water was streaming in from just behind where the camera is positioned today. And there were other points where water was ingressing, so they're sort of over behind me here. So the old roof had basically broken down, and you could see it. If you looked at the roof panels above me, you could see where the water was coming in. So I basically bit the bullet and had a brand new roof put in to make this space far more, to make it dry again. Because, you know, there is stuff stored here. You know, when I'm working on bits and bobs, I have them here. Although most of the equipment is down in storage, because obviously there's other people's kit that's stored in this garage as well as mine. You know, I have to be mindful of the people I live with. So, you know, we bit the bullet. We had a new roof put on, and also, which is slightly, you can just about see it in shot here. You'll notice that there is now a white window here, and I've had the windows done with new security windows, which are really nice. And although you can't see it today because it is dark out there and I've got the lights on in here, you can actually now see out of this window into the garden, whereas you couldn't with the previous window, because the window was, what do they call it, blown. Which is where it all frosts up inside and you can't see through it. So the previous window was blown. This window is, let's say, a new basic security window that's been put in. I've had a new door put on, which means that there's now no draft coming through the workshop. So hopefully over the winter, unlike last year when I came out here a few times to try and do some videos and do some repairs, and it was just too damn cold. I'm hoping that this year, with the fact that I've had a new garage door, a new roof, I've had all the sort of drafty bits down the side here, all filled and properly sealed, I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit warmer. It'll still be cold out here, you know. Let's not beat around the bush. I mean, it's, you know, there's little insulation on the roof up there. Although I may put some insulation in the coming months. See how the wallet feels. But I think it's a major step forward in terms of how the workshop has now evolved. You know, we've done all the electrics in here. We've done the tool bank behind me. We've done the seating for Sean and Bertie. But the important thing is that the workshop is now finished, which is good, because this year I've had to pack it up at least 3 times this year to allow workmen to do stuff. And every time they pack it up, it really is quite a chore to get everything back out of boxes and put back on the walls and stuff like that. So hopefully that's all done and dusted now. The only thing I am finding, and this is one of those, you know, things that happens when you have your workshop done, is where they were cutting timbers and stuff for the roof, etc. I'm now finding that, you know, every time I pull something off a shelf, or, you know, even over here, take things off the racks here, you know, everything is covered in sawdust. So I'm going to be cleaning up sawdust, I think, for months. But c'est la vie, the workshop is finished. We can get on with repairs. It's really interesting because I said right at the beginning of this video, it's the 5th of November, which is where a lot of people have bonfires and set off fireworks to celebrate the plot on the UK Parliament, Eden Cromwellian times or whenever it was. Anyway, the bottom line is I can start to smell people having bonfires. It's the smell is coming there. You can smell the burning wood in the surrounding area. And I live on the south coast, so we're not in a smoke-free zone like you would be if you lived in London or somewhere. Anyway, I digress. The next thing I wanted to talk about very, very briefly is this thing sitting behind me. That is my S50, my Roland S-50 sampler. And I'm kind of ruining the day I started trying to fix the S50 sampler, because this is the one project I have done where nothing has gone right first time. I have soldered components onto boards for years and never had any issues. I have an issue with this machine. So I've actually finished what I'm going to do with this machine. It's all put back together, you know, and you can't feel it, but these keys are now beautiful to touch because they've been polished. So it is actually quite a joy. The keyboard has been put back together and it's actually quite a joy to play in terms of the action. But, and this is a big but, it still doesn't work. Now that is a spoiler. You can go and watch the rest of the videos on the S50 series. There is still some value because it tells you how to get into how to put things back together, how to rebuild the keyboard, etc, etc. But it has failed. The project has failed. And I think the issue has come from the fact that, sorry Sean, this is the converter board for the Roland S-50. So effectively what you have is you have 38 volts AC comes in over here, and out over here you've got your 5 plus or minus 5 volt rail, your 12 volt rail to run the disk drive, etc, etc. So that is the board that I recapped, okay? And after I recapped that, something went wrong with the synth. It was I don't exactly know what went wrong, but something was shorting. So I did a load of tests and I came to the conclusion it was something on this board, and I think it was that thing there, which is the bridge rectifier. I think that's the thing that's burnt out. So I thought to myself, oh well, you know, what are my options? Then I found a board from SYNTH, replaced the board that was in the S50 with the board from SYNTH. It is still, as soon as you apply power and load to the transformer, it is blowing the fuse. So I'm of the opinion that having looked at the transformer itself, I think the transformer is what is shorting. I don't think it's the board or the new board that's been put in. The synth is shorting. I think the transformer is shorting because I don't even have any load on this board, so I don't have those bits plugged into the motherboard and the disk drive, so there's no load on this board. But as soon as you apply a connection, it shorts. So I think it's the transformer that's gone. I've been hunting around for a transformer. I did think originally that I could probably put a D-series transformer into this machine. Unfortunately, all the transformers for Roland equipment are slightly different. But I did think about putting a D-series transformer in. The problem with that is the D-series transformer doesn't push out 38 volts. And it doesn't have 34 VA. It's considerably less powerful. And the problem with that is that if this is a 38 volt transformer and 34 VA, then if you put something that can't meet 38 volts and 34 VA, then basically it's going to struggle. It's going to basically blow itself up again. So I have been looking for a transformer, or I'm looking for an alternative actually, if I'm brutally honest. I'm thinking of seeing if I can put a different switch mode transformer into this and just doing away with the original Roland electronics here and putting a more modern transformer in. That will mean modifying the way that power comes into the system, modifying the connection strips, which is something I didn't want to really do, but actually, you know what, it might fix the issue and bring this keyboard back to life. Because at the moment, unfortunately, while it does look nice, I've polished this. I tell you what, that came up a treat. Doing it with, because it was all scratched to pieces, this display, or the plastic that was on the display, and I polished it. I did it with some very fine scratch remover and then went over it with some polish, some plastic polish, and it's come up an absolute treat. And it would look lovely if it worked. And the final thing I wanted to talk about this week is I took advantage of the flight case sale at Swan Flight Cases, which is a flight case manufacturer in the UK, and I acquired a really robust flight case for my recently acquired Yamaha DX7 II FD keyboard. Now I've got a case which is a more traditional sort of wooden case for the original Yamaha DX7 II that I own. But this one came minus a keyboard case, and I have a policy that if I'm going to keep a keyboard, if it's going to go into the long-term collection, then I will buy a suitable keyboard case to keep it in. I do the same with things like drum machines, for argument's sake. So if I decide I'm going to buy a drum machine, it doesn't come with a case, then I will go and buy a case. But I normally kind of wait until I see things like Swan go into sale. In October, Swan were in sale, over 25% off their keyboard cases. So to keep this keyboard nice and safe, and I have kind of propped it, and I am being very, very careful to make sure this doesn't fall out on my head, because it is kind of propped up on the bench here, is I've gone and bought a case for it. Now, I bang on about cases. I did, a few years ago, I did a whole big thing about cases. And I don't really want to bore you guys about cases, but, you know, if you're moving stuff around, keyboards around, you need to consider the cases. Now, some guys, because of how they move keyboards around, can get away with soft cases. If you can hear the bangs in the background, by the way, that's fireworks going off around the house. Some guys get away with soft cases, and that works really well for them. Other guys get away with sort of more sturdy type cases. Even the soft cases, have pad in them, so don't get me wrong. But I just have a policy that, because I don't gig, I don't have to worry about heaving cases in and out of venues, up and down flights of stairs, I just go for something that's sturdy. So these are aluminium sides, hardboard backs. It's material called hexadecimal, something like that. It's like a hardboard material, but it's a stucco style finish on it. And then the inside of the keyboard case is all foam lined, as you can see. And I don't know what it's on. You can see it on camera up the top here, just about possibly. I always put when I buy a keyboard case, if I'm going to have the keyboard case made for the keyboard, I always put a section in for peripherals for that particular keyboard. So that can be pedals, that can be IC cables like that thing, all that sort of stuff. The whole idea is that when I get a keyboard, when I go to storage and get a keyboard, I don't have to remember additional cables. I don't have to worry about where those additional cables are. All the cables are here. So there will be a foot switch going in here, which will be the foot switch cable for this particular keyboard. So I will go and put that in here. There is the cartridge it came with is sitting in here. There you go. It's up the top there. And the other thing that's really important is to keep the plug away from the surface, because quite often in keyboard cases where you don't make allowances for a compartment in it, the plug is sitting somewhere around the keyboard, and that has the problems of digging into something and scratching it, or actually damaging displays and stuff like that. And as you know, with this legacy tech, getting hold of parts is becoming harder and harder and harder to do. Hence the Roland S-50 conversation I had on the previous section of this video. So there you go. That's just me. That's what I do. If I'm going to keep it, it's going into the collection, goes in a hard case. I'm fairly sure that it's going to be fairly well protected while it's in storage and while it's being moved between storage and play locations. And on that note, hopefully this hasn't been very long. I'm hoping it hasn't been very long, because it wasn't meant to be very long. I'm going to say live long and prosper, and I will see you next time. Watch out for the S50 videos. They are coming. The final S50 videos are coming, so watch out for those. And the next project, I just sort of mentioned this, the next project that's going on the workbench is the SY77 to fix. I think it's just the floppy drive that needs to be fixed on the SY77. So that project is the next one. I'm going to just power through a bunch of really quite simple projects, and this one will be going on the bench soon regarding fixing this dead key that's at the end of the keyboard. So there's a number of projects I'm just going to try and power through this time or power through and fix this side of Christmas. But the videos will probably, given the nature of them, will probably take us up and over beyond Christmas. But keep your eyes peeled for the SY77, which is the next one to come through. And I'll say live long and prosper again. Catch you later. Bye bye.